Historical Society, and we'll be talking about the streets of St. Mary's, names of the streets of St. Mary's. How are you, Norma?
Not too bad,
Not too bad. Another month went fast, eh?
It certainly did. Been a very busy month.
Busy month? Yeah, you've been busy here too. Anyway, we'll leave it to you now.
Last month, Charlie, we spoke about the street names in Oxley Park, so I thought I'd continue on today, and we'll come further west from Oxley Park. We've got Philip, Henley and King Streets. Now, although this was the name of the third governor of New South Wales, I think it is more likely that the streets were named after his grandson of the same name. He owned the land in that area at one time, and he gave 2 acres of his land in Gidley Street for the rectory of St Mary Magdalene Church, and that rectory was built in 1887. Lethbridge Street in the same area was named for John King Lethbridge, another grandson of Governor King. He was a magistrate and a farmer. He at one time lived at Dunheved and at Tregear, and he was a trustee of the St Mary Magdalene Church. Champness Crescent is in that same area. Now, Frank Champness was a farrier in the town for many, many years and was extremely well known. And his son Edward was known as Teddy. He worked for St Mary's Council when he first left school at 16. And he had an interest in flying, and he joined the RAAF Reserve, studied signals and Morse code and identifying planes. And when he was 18, he joined the RAAF and trained as a pilot. Gained his wings in South Australia. In 1943, he was sent to England to a posting with the Royal Air Force. And he flew several missions over Germany and was involved in the bombing raids on the enemy in France just prior to the D-Day invasion that we've been commemorating over this weekend. And then he was shot down over Germany, and some of his crew were able to parachute out of the plane, were captured and spent the rest of the war as prisoners, but Teddy was unable to parachute out and he went down with the plane. He died on the 23rd of May 1944, and so Champness Crescent was named after him. Blair Avenue was named after Jack Blair, who was the last mayor of St Mary's before the amalgamation with Penrith Council, 1948-49. Ross Place, also in that same area, was named after Mr E.F. Ross, who was the town clerk of St Mary's Council from 1943 to 1948. We don't have a town clerk any longer with councils, but the town clerk's job was very similar to today's general manager. Now, Queen Street, of course, was named after Queen Victoria, and Princess Mary Street, down by Victoria Park, was named after the Princess Royal, daughter of Queen Victoria. Charles Hackett Drive. Charles Hackett was a large landowner where the roadway is now. He inherited the land from his father James Hackett, who had one of the early innkeepers on the Western Road. In fact, the remains of his inn can still be seen on the eastern bank of South Creek. It was known as the Woolpack Inn, and he had a butcher shop and on the site as well as an inn. But he left all his land there to Charles Hackett, and because the roadway was named after him. On the other side of the highway we have Putland Street, and it was named after Mary Putland, and she was the daughter of Governor Bligh. And Mary came to Australia with her father as his hostess, and she was married to Lieutenant John Putland, who was the Governor's aide-de-camp. Lieutenant Putland died not too long after they came here. He had consumption, and then Mary married Lieutenant Morris O'Connell, who was the aide-de-camp to Governor Macquarie. Mary had been given a land grant while she was still Mary Putland, and that was the grant from Queen Street West. When she married O'Connell, she was given another grant from Mamre Road West up to O'Connell Street, Kingswood. Excuse me.
That's past the university, yeah.
And it was when Mary and her second husband, Morris O'Connell, subdivided the land in 1842 that the streets in the area were formed. And so we had O'Connell Street at the western boundary and Putland Street behind the park. And of course they gave the land for Victoria Park. Another street in that area was Sainsbury Street, and that was named after Joseph Sainsbury, who was a builder, and he built Mimosa and Bronte, two magnificent homes, as well as many other buildings in the area, but they are the two that remain that testament to his skills. And he was the mayor of St Mary's from 1897 to 1904. Garner Street was named after the first mayor of St Mary's, William Garner. He was in the wood trade, sawmiller, and sold wood.
So at this stage you're talking about the mayor of St Mary. Penrith had no mayor at the time.
Oh, well, Penrith had their own council.
Had their own council
yes,
at the time.
St Mary's. St Mary's Council the council area went as far as Kingswood.
All right.
And parts of Luddenham. And when the amalgamation took place, St Mary's actually had a larger population than Penrith. But there were the council from out Mulgala, Laysha Way, they amalgamated at the same time as did Castlereagh.
All right.
So it was a coming together, with Penrith being the central position that became the Penrith Municipal Council. Now, Garner, William Garner, he was the first mayor of St Mary's. The Garner family were very well known in the area, and at the time of the First World War, 3 of William Garner's sons went to war and only one returned. So it was a very difficult time for the Garner family. Now, Pages Road, Saddington Street and Desborough Road, they're all named after tanners of the district, because tanning was the major industry at South Creek, and they were attracted here because of the natural resources. There was plenty of water in South Creek, and the wattle tree bark provided the tannin needed to process the hides. There were several other tanners in the district, but there were 3 that were of the major ones who had streets named after them. Now, Bennett Road we mentioned last month because that was the name of the former name of Glossop Street. And with the naming of Oxley Park, Bennett Road was moved. And it was, of course, today's Bennett Road, it's of course named after the wagon builders who were quite famous, not only at St Mary's but all over the east coast of Australia. In the just west of Bennett Road, in what became known as the Middleborough Estate, when that was subdivided, there are 2 other streets there, Brooker and Mushio Streets, and they were both named after former mayors of St Mary's. So most of the mayors from 1890 up to the 1948, most of them have been pay tribute with streets named after them. Another street in that area was Day Street, and that's named after Dr. Edward Day. He was the only doctor in St Mary's for many years until his daughter Prudence joined him in his practice. Dr. Day came to St Mary's in 1912, and he rented a house on the highway, on the hill near the police station, and he was asked if he wanted to buy it, and he said, "I'm only staying for a couple of years." He stayed here for the rest of his life, which is up until 1953, and he was a wonderful man. Another street in the Middleborough estate was Ball Street, and that was named after Roy Ball, the baker. Now, his bakery was on the corner of the Great Western Highway and Mamre Road, behind the Bank of New South Wales, where the Astley Centre is now. There was a big two-storey building there, and it had been a general store one time, belonged to the Hope family and to Andrew Thompson, and then became the first bank in St Mary's, the Bank of New South Wales, which of course today is Westpac. But the Ball family lived in the residence above and had the bakery in the back, and he used to deliver the bread with the horse and carts. Marsden Road was of course named after Reverend Samuel Marsden of Mamre, and Morris Street, that runs off Marsden Road, was named after William Cuffy Morris, who had a general store on the corner of the Great Western Highway and Mamre Road, but on the eastern side of Mamre Road, now the site of the council precinct.
All right.
And he was a bit of a character, William Morris. He got the name Cuffy because in the days the men wore the celluloid collars and cuffs on their shirts, and if you went into his store and you wanted something he didn't have, he'd write it on the cuff of his shirt, and he'd go off into the city with his suitcase and pick up whatever you needed and bring it back again. Or if you owed him a penny or something, you were short and you changed, he'd write that on his cuff as well. So
That was a slate.
yeah. Near Morris Street we've got Fleming Street. Now Fleming Street was named after William Fleming. He was a brickmaker, and that was another major industry in the area because they used the clay from South Creek to make the bricks. William Fleming made the bricks that are in the St Mary's Public School, and he was built in 1877. Another two streets in that general area is Adams Crescent and Cook Street, and they're both named after former mayors of St Mary's, Jack Adams and Joe Cook. They were both mayors in the 1940s as well. So that's covers quite a few of the older streets in St Mary's. There's still quite a lot that we don't know where the names came from.
Right.
But generally they're the names of people that made a real contribution to this township.
But these people that live in these streets, or whoever's listening now knows where the name of their street come from.
Well, I would hope so.
So if anyone wants to have this information, can they get this information from you on a leaflet or whatever?
The St Mary's and District Historical Society has their own website, and that's stmary'shistoricalsociety.org, and we put all this information, or my husband puts all this information on the site for us. And of course, if they've got any queries, they can always ring me.
I believe even these interviews, they're on the website too, isn't it?
Yes. I think he's dragging the chain a little bit with them, but I'm sure he'll catch up in the next few weeks. But my phone number is 9623-2307 if anyone has any inquiries. And of course the Society meets on the fourth Saturday of every month at the Community Arts Centre, and anyone is welcome to come, even if they just want to come and ask some questions about the local area, they'd be more than welcome.
All right, good one. Could you repeat it? You meet on the...
Fourth Saturday of each month, and at the Community Arts Centre in Mamre Road at 1:15.
Okay, so for more information, if you want to contact Norma, it's 962-32307. Excellent.
That's right. And could I just say, too, our society is extremely busy this year because we are celebrating the bicentenary of the first grant at South Creek. Those celebrations will be held at Mamre Homestead on the 17th of October.
17th of October.
Yes, and the society, we're all dressing up for the
occasion.
parade this year to advertise it. And I just had confirmation last week that the Governor of New South Wales, Professor Murray Bashir, will be attending the celebration. So we're quite excited about that, and I'm told that she's quite looking forward to coming out there as well.
Excellent.
So it's a big year for us.
See, I tell you what, you're still very active and you're involved. You're still involved a lot in this.
Yes.
Good on you, Norma.
Yes, I think I gave up work to carry bricks, actually. I'm as busy now between the Historical Society and the Development Committee that organises the Spring Festival.
The Spring Festival?
I think I'm almost as busy as when I was working, but...
I've got the same problem. I retired and I'm busier now than what I was when I was working and getting paid for it.
Well, I think you've got to keep the grey matter working, and if you can contribute something to your own community, then I think it's...
and a lot of people appreciate it. They appreciate what you do, and it's nice when people come up to you and, this is a thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, it is really nice. But I find these days that it's the children that are particularly interested in the history, and that's can be rather surprising because people say, children aren't interested in history. It's only because they don't know the history. Once the children in this area learn of the rich history that we've got here, they're just so appreciative and they're so interested, and I get a lot of calls from children.
See, a lot of people don't give much credit to children now. They say, but if you see, even during the Anzac parade, you see there's a lot of young ones now. They're taking part and wearing their fathers or grandfathers' medals.
Yes. Well, even at the dawn service here in St Mary's, I was just so heartened to see so many children at that service, at 5:30 in the morning, and it was quite chilly.
Yeah.
And there were, there's just more and more children attending every year, and it was really good to see.
That's a good one. So there you are. Give credit to children today, because when you're talking about young ones today, a lot of people, they only think about these young homes that are running around on Friday night and Saturday night and burning grabber and all that stuff.
They're really in the minority.
That's the minority here. I mean, look how many children. So
if there are any children in the area wanting to access our website, there's a project on there called Peter's Project. It's my eldest granddaughter did it when she was quite 9, actually. And it's the history of St Mary's written so that children can understand it, because history books are written for adults.
Right.
Whereas she has written all this in her own
imagination, or
her own way.
Her own way.
And quite a few children from primary school age actually access the website to have a look at that, and they find it very easy reading, and just give them a basic outline of the history of St Mary's.
Hey, can I get this information off air from you before you go, so that we can pass this on? Because we've got about 10 kids doing programs here.
Yes.
Ranging up to 16, so that they can mention it on their programs.
Good. That would be good, because the more children... I mean, we need to preserve this history to pass on to the children, because it is my firm belief that we can't know where we're going if we don't know where we've been.
That's right.
I think
yeah.
children need to know how we've arrived at the point we're at now,
Yep.
and that helps them then move on for the future.
That's right. In the beginning, there's always been like,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, we're here now, but how did we come here?
Mm.
And St. Mary's, how did the name of St. Mary's come by and all that?
Yes.
Thank you, Norma.
Well, thank
Thanks
you,
for coming,
Charlie.
and we'll catch up with you in another
Next month.
4 weeks or 5 weeks, whatever. Thank you very much. That was Norma Torben, the president of the St. Mary's District Historical Society. And we'll have a break now.